Dear students, in this video, I'll be explaining you the poem Animals, which has been written by Walt Whitman. And this poem has been taken from the first flight book of class 10th. At the end of the explanation of the poem, you'll also find the literary devices used by the poet. So before I begin the explanation of the poem, let me introduce the poet to you. Walt Whitman was born on 31st May 1819, where in West Hills, New York. You'll see most of his poems are written in free verse. So here, the poem Animals is all about our lost values. The poet discusses how we are living in a fake world surrounded by artificiality and discontentment, whereas animals have not lost their natural ability to live a peaceful, contented life. So the first three lines go like this. I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-contained. I stand and look at them long and long. In this stanza, the poet expresses his desire to turn away from human beings and live with animals because he feels that animals are calm, quiet and contented. The poet indirectly comments on the restlessness, greed and dissatisfaction among human beings. He is so much impressed by the natural qualities of animals that he prefers to live among them. He gazes at the animals for a very long time and desires to be with them. The next four lines go like this. They do not sweat and whine about their condition. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. Not one is dissatisfied, not one is demented with the mania of owning things. The poet continues with his appreciation of animals in contrast to human beings. The animals, according to Walt Whitman, are satisfied about their lot and never crave for anything. As they are innocent, they do not have to spend sleepless nights because they do not commit crimes or sins, and therefore they do not have to repent their actions. Not one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lived thousands of years ago. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. So they show their relations to me and I accept them. They bring me tokens of myself. They evince them plainly in their possessions. The poet wants to go and live with animals because they enjoy equality and nobody has to bend before others. Animals do not bow before any saints or their ancestors who lived a long time back in the past ancient times. All the animals have such a sense of equality that none claims respect from others and none is burdened with sorrow. Human beings have given up these virtues, but animals have preserved them. The last two lines go like this. I wonder where they get those tokens. Did I pass that way huge times ago and negligently drop them? In this stanza, I stands for not only the poet or the narrator, but for human beings in general. The poet believes that in good old times, human beings had the virtues of modesty, contentment, innocence and selflessness, which they have lost completely with the passage of time. Now, these qualities are to be found among animals. Now let me throw some light on the literary devices used by the poet. Walt Whitman is known as the father of free verse. So this poem doesn't have any regular rhyme scheme. It's written in free verse. Then the second literary device is alliteration. As we know, alliteration is the occurrence of the same sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words. So here we have the example of alliteration. I stand and look at them long and long. So here the sound of L is being repeated. Then we have I wonder where they get those tokens. So the sound of W and TH is being repeated here. Then the poet has also used repetition. In the same line that I said right now, I stand and look at them long and long. So here the word long is repeated to emphasize the length of the time the poet looks at the animals. Then the poet has also used metaphor here. Metaphor, we know it's the comparison between two things, but then there is no usage of the word like or as here. They bring me tokens of myself. So here the word tokens has been used metamorphically for human qualities of innocence, honesty and contentment. But the comparison is indirect without the words of comparison, that is, as or like is not used here. Then we also have anaphora. Anaphora is a literary device in which the writer repeats the same beginning of a clause or a sentence. So in the poem, the expression "they do not" has been repeated 3 times in order to emphasize the absence of some evil qualities in animals which we find in human beings. Similarly, the poet has repeated the expression "not one" twice. This is an anaphoric expression and emphasizes the prevalence of equality and contentment among animals. Then we also have pun being used here by the poet. Now what is pun? Pun is a literary device in which a poet plays upon a word. At the same time, it creates humorous and rhetorical effect. So when the poet says, "I stand and look at them long and long," the word "long" that has been used twice has been punned upon. The poet means that he stands and looks at the animals for a long time, and at the same time he longs to be one with them. That's all for today. Hope you were able to understand the poem. See you in the next video. Till then, bye-bye.